Welcome to Liberal Buzz Show. Today my guest is going to be Shona Gochenaur, the Educational Director of Axis of Love SF, which is a compassionate community. We think that if you can grow a pound of cannabis for $10, you should be able to just give it away. And right now that's prohibited in a lot of cases. So she's going to be calling in about 5 or 10 minutes. And I wanted to update you. The Board of Supervisors put a 45-day moratorium. That's going to be one of our topics, the 45-day moratorium on new cannabis dispensaries. So that's just more mean things they're doing. But they did give one concession, that they lowered the cost of the permit. So that was one thing that they did right, if anything. So, and what's happening in Oakland now, here's some statistics in Oakland. There's a lot of racism and harassment going on there. Oakland, you got to do better. The Oakland Police Department needs to explain themselves. 131 African American men cited for marijuana and only 6 white. So yeah, 131 African Americans in Oakland and only 6 white folk. And I used to sell weed, okay? Anyway, so from the and I got busted for it too. But, from the Oakland Police Department's report to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, in 2016, OPD, Oakland Police Department, well, they issued 190 citations for possession of less than 1 ounce of cannabis under Section 11357B of the Health and Safety Code. So that's a 14% decrease from 2015, but then 38% of the incidents involved vehicle stops for traffic violations where cannabis was observed or found after the stop. A majority of the remaining incidents involved walking stops where persons were observed with cannabis in a public place. So we have by numbers here. Let's crunch the numbers. There's citations by sex and race of 11357B. So race, men. Okay, 131 African American men, 19 females, 19 African American females, and that's 150 people, black people were arrested in Oakland, and that's 79% of all the total arrests. So, and they call it, and I don't think anything is going to change. It's not legalization. That it's going to be too expensive to buy it in the dispensary, too many taxes, you know. I think the herb is smarter than the people trying to regulate it most of the time. So, and then the Asians, there's a couple of Asian guys and 1 female got caught selling pot, and they take up 2%. And Hispanic are 12%, 21 men, 1 female. That's 22 people altogether, which is 12% of the total arrests. So white people is about half that, or about 1/3 that, really. Yeah. 6 white guys, 3 white girls, 9 altogether, 5%. So the other, whatever, that's just... So African Americans, they're taking up the undue burden of cannabis regulations. And so before Shona calls, she wanted me to read how Monsanto and Bayer are maneuvering to take over the cannabis industry. Of course, I've mentioned this before, even though they're the most hated corporation on the planet, just about. And so Governor Brown signed a bill. He made it illegal to use cannabis while driving or riding in the car. So that's now illegal. It's been signed by Governor Moonbeam. So, and it hasn't really been proven that cannabis impairs your driving at all. It really has not. It hasn't been proven. So, they're just full of themselves. They just want, you know, more litigation, more citations. And there's some emergency regulations being worked out that we'll get to in a later show because we're not quite sure what's happened yet. Oh, and I want you to know about this. I took videos of the DACA workshops. So that'll be in a future show. I might get Charles Sanchez Balderrama to appear. It was presented by the Milk Club. See, a lot of these kids he's one of the sweetest people I know, and a lot of these immigrants are a lot more likely to obey the law and be nice to everybody than people who live here. So, and for a long time. And so this is deferred action for childhood arrivals. And then I got this comment from somebody. This guy's a mixed bag here, Joe Hemp. It's just a temporary Band-Aid. No, I'm just going to hide that remark because it just doesn't. I should just delete it. But anyway, what I'm saying is there's a bunch of addresses. They're going to be on my Twitter feed. I'll have the addresses. Denise Dory, right there, Denise Dory. It'll be on my Twitter feed. I'm going to have all the documents you need to know about DACA and the numbers to call and all that. So that was a good. And then there was another workshop about electronic surveillance. It was absolutely fascinating. So I'm going to get to that too. The Anarchist Book Fair was great. If we could have the Anarchist Book Fair every weekend. I'd love that. It was fantastic. They had lots of good issues. Although the Ohlone Native American presentation had been canceled, but I got videos of the other one that I liked. How to defend yourself in video surveillance, because what happens is even your TV's watching you. I found this out trying to take videos of myself on TV, and I was in the TV for just a second, and it was just a glitch of some sort. So anyway, yeah, your TV's watching you, folks. So that's another one. That'll be in a show sometime in October. Let's see what get Shona on the phone. I just ran into Jane Kim on my way to the studio. I just ran into her, and I was talking to her about compassionate care and how it should be fine to give away cannabis. But I'll see her at the DCCC, and I'm going to give some public comment, and I'll share it with you. In fact, you could see what I wrote to the Bernie Krats. If I can't get Shona, I'm going to show you what I had to tell what the Bernie Krats had to tell me. It was cute. As the Bernie Krats don't really realize that they gave money. They took money from bad people. You know, the membership. So there were people in there. Hello, my guest for today's show. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Oh, fine. I hope all's well with you. This is Shona, the educational director and CEO of Axis of Love, SF, a compassionate cannabis community dedicated to the fact that if you can grow a pound for $10, then you should be able to give it away, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so besides that, now I talked about Debbie Goldsberry's post and about the raise in crime in Oakland. So the raise in arrests of 79% black men.
Yeah. And San Francisco isn't very much different,
No.
And a lot of this comes from the fact that instead of actually having real drug policy reform, we have lobbyist networks that are really working just to, protect business interests, and it really isn't a social justice reform effort. There's a lot of progressive window dressing around the laws that they propose, but Even if you look at what happened with the state ballot, DPA had the only state ballot that contained jail time. So all of this could have been.
And wait, hold on. DPA is Drug Policy Alliance. We call them Drug Policy Alliance. Go on.
Right. So, we could have foreseeably seen an end of the 80 to 85% black males being, arrested. Come January 1st, had any other state ballots qualified, but we had a real corporate bullying going on with Drug Policy Alliance to get in their initiative. They were basically willing to do whatever it took to sink all the other community ballots, none of which had jail time. And, I bet that if you looked at who they arrested all together, it would be 110% poor and working class, even before you divide it down into race. And, there were plenty of groups proposing ballot initiatives that would have brought that to a halt, but in reality, Drug Policy Alliance doesn't really want to stop the drug war. They just want to make the pool of legitimate money around cannabis for a specific few people. And right as they were doing Prop 64, they bought out Jay-Z, they bought out Michelle Alexander,
Snoop Dogg.
And had
Snoop Dogg.
people of color go on and say, hey, this Prop 64 is going to be good for our communities. And, this is why I've religiously said that Prop 64 was as twisted as, Indian treaties in the past, a lot of progressive window dressing and having people of color come forward and saying they agree. And, it's just a really sad reality, and I don't know if that changes until people really understand that the cookie cutter process that Drug Policy Alliance has used across America has really not improved the overall process. It's only opened up opportunity for a select few. And the same thing happens when they go into this, we want to do equity, all this with equity. All they're doing is really just opening up the permitting process for a select few people of color that are willing to work with them and take their resources, and it's just a puppeting. The puppet master is still at the end of the strings. So it's a situation that, people really need to become conscious about.
Yes. And now, is there any chance for any of the ballot initiatives, any of the over 25 ballot initiatives to ever come to fruition, to ever get financial backing in 2018 or 2020?
Oh, maybe 2020. I really think with Jeffrey Sessions there as our Attorney General, and the fact that he could we're only covered up to December 8th as far as not having the Department of Justice able to come into medical cannabis states. That's when the Wellbacher Amendment dissolves. And Jeffrey Sessions has worked very hard with every member of Congress to say, hey, we need to refund the drug war. They're into making the drug war great again. So, getting funding during, as the times have changed with the Trump administration, us getting funding to be able to get something that's fair is going to be almost insurmountable if we don't get a good candidate in 2020,
We have to. Well, on the national level, Now on the
Yeah,
state,
on the national level, but on the state level, you're not going to get funders either when there's the risk of, when there's still a huge federal risk, and when you have something in place, and that's why I think Drug Policy Alliance pushed so hard to get something into place. And we're looking at more pullovers because we just had something passed at the state level that makes it illegal to not only you yourself as a driver smoke a joint,
your
but
passengers
if
too.
you have a passenger. So that means that police all over California are going to be making even more pullovers than they ever made in the past.
Well, I'm more worried about the dangers of Governor Brown governing while greedy than pot-smoking drivers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's been studies from France and from other European countries that have proven that, driving after having consumed cannabis is so dramatically different than somebody who's drunk or, on pills or whatever, It's an excuse to get into people's cars. It's going to be an excuse to, who does California police pull over? Well, with a study from Oakland, we know, and from the statistics from even San Francisco, we know that the people that get pulled over tend to be people of color, poor people, and people with disabilities. So now that's, with what just passed this session in both the houses, everybody that's not, a select few is going to be more at risk in their cars traveling, so it's a really hard situation, and hopefully the education will get out there that's a possibility, because before there was no law in place to say, hey, if you have a passenger and they're smoking a joint and they're medical or what have you, they're cool, So when you have a recriminalization effort, a lot of people don't know about it, which means that they're not taking the precautions to make sure that they don't get arrested for something as simple as medicating as a passenger in the car.
Do you see mass political resistance when people get cited for something they thought they voted for to legalize?
Yeah, it's so sad because, one thing I think you've been really good at expressing is that it was the low-informed progressive voter that put in Prop 64, which was exactly what Drug Policy Alliance was counting on, just as Donald Trump, he himself said he loves the stupid vote, and that got him in.
Who's this? How'd you get him in? Oh.
Yeah, the stupid vote,
Yeah. The low information progressives, the ones that, actually that's kind of how we got Hitler,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same factors. Low end people.
Yeah, exactly the same factors, actually.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate this call. We got about a minute left. Now, what's going on the local level?
On the local level, we have a 45-day hold on all permits that weren't in the pipeline, and supposedly Malia Cohen is working on something for these equity permits, and we haven't seen the legislation yet, but I am kind of frightened about what it will look like, and you always have to remember the 45-day hold usually ends up being a 6-month hold, and the 6-month hold usually ends up being a year hold of permitting. So we've got, a lot going against moving things forward.
So what can viewers do to help us
Well,
preserve
I think
compassionate care?
Yeah, we have to wait to see what comes out of her office, and then what we like about it we have to support, and what we don't like about it we have to get up there and battle against.
Well, Malia's on my friend list, from the looks of it, when I went to do public comment, I don't think she is reading my posts, so I'm just a comment about that.
Well, it's hard to know.
Yeah, well, it's been a great show, Shona, and we're going to have the end of the month dinner, and that'll be fun. So we do services for the community, and Shona's a great lady. She does services for the community, and advocating free cannabis and a little picnic in the park. So that's compassion.
Only with your help, Denise, and only with your help do we get information out.
Yes, if we can get them to listen.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'll see you soon. I'll be up at your house in a little while, okay?
All right. Thank you, Denise, for having me on your show.
Thank you for being on my show.
All right, my dear.
To learn, make you obey. Take the lead, but know your place. No one taught to ask her questions, still with fear of resistance. Moving done in super miles, your friends and Maya watch and follow. People, products, personalities, expectations of what you should be. You can blame them for perceptions, but not our responsibility. You lived and died,